If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Altar Call. I'm your host, Tane, here to talk about the Traitors Season 4, Episodes 4 and 5 today. And my guest this week is Dana from the Bravo Investigator. Hi, Dana. How are you doing?
Hi, Tane. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be talking the Traitors with you because what else is there to talk about lately? I feel like it's all everyone is talking about. It's the Traitors, Traitors, Traitors.
Yeah, honestly, you know how they say things break the internet? I think Traitors has broken our brain. It's all like you can correlate everything to, and I mentioned this last week on my recap, is that the reason why I love Traitors just came into the trifecta of competitive reality shows that I love, The Challenge, Survivor, and now
That's right. That's your bread and
Traitors.
butter.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's now Traitors. And it's just the fact that all my people in one place and I get to talk about them and then see them interact outside of their comfort zone, so to speak. And it's just so great. So, and they're feeding us. That's the thing. And I guess my question for you is, how are you feeling about this season compared to other seasons? What do you like better? What do you not like better compared to the previous ones?
Last season, I would say, was maybe a little bit more camp. Like you had the gamers like Boston Rob and Wes being like, "Whoa, I'm going to kill people." So you had a lot more of that like theatrics and the performance. And I did like that. I thought it was really fun. We do still have that here by way of like Alan's outfits and just the way people are acting in general. But I think a lot of the gameplay is a lot smarter this season because last season we had like literally every round table, everybody was wrong. So it just sort of felt silly. One thing I would say that I don't think they've ever done, which I would recommend they all do, is just do a little bit of background research on your opponents before you come in. Because I find it so odd that they don't. And that they'll be like, "You were on The Bachelor, Colton? You did this? Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir, you guys know each other? They're besties. Google it." You know, so I just think that if you really want to win this, do a little bit of research, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I would recommend going in. But no, I'm enjoying it. I think it's still really fun. You know, I don't like to complain even too much, right? Because who am I? I'm no producer. I'm no anything, right? I'd be like, "Oh, they shouldn't have made this person a traitor, or they should have thought better about this." No, I'm enjoying it. I think it's really fun and light and silly. And yeah, this has been a good season. No complaints. No complaints.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't know. I think some of them do. I think I remember Dylan Efron. He did watch, people's shows.
Okay.
I do feel like, even though she didn't talk about it a lot, I do feel Donna Kelsey. I think she did do her research, or she already knew and was watching. Someone like Candace, I think in the preview for the cast, I mentioned she's on top of her pop culture game. She knows what's happening. So I don't know if it's being edited out or they're just not talking about it, or it's not good strategy to be like, "Oh, I know you did this. I know you did that." I don't know. But yes, it would help you to be on top of your pop culture knowledge game to know how everybody moves on there. Because I remember last season where Ayan was telling Wes, like, "Where are you from? The Challenge? What is that?" But also,
what is that?
It's Ayan. Ayan is not going to know, even if you fed it to her on paper in front of her. I want to ask, who did you not know before the show, or not familiar with, and now you're like really liking them?
pretty much all of the gamers because that's not my thing. I
Yeah.
don't watch Big Brother or Survivor, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Rob Sestorino, I was very familiar with from
Yeah.
Rob Has a Podcast, and
Yeah.
because I'm a podcaster, so I just want
Yeah.
to see what everybody else is doing. But yeah, pretty much the gamers. And then I came away from the end of the series of episodes or the set of episodes tearing up for Tiffany
Yeah.
because she worked so fucking hard. And I think the fact that she really needed the money while the
Mhm.
rest of them are doing this because like everybody wants to be on the Traitors because of the name recognition that it's going to give you, not
Mhm.
necessarily the money. And so like my heart broke for her and now I just want to know everything about her. I'm like obsessed with her.
Okay. Yeah. Tiffany is great, and we're gonna get to it. I do think she was a little off her game this season of what I was expecting from her. The most famous thing about Tiffany is Tiffany led us to our first black winner on Big
I
Brother.
know this. I
She
know this
came up,
now. Yes.
yes, with all the plans, and she's very, very smart. She was on the challenge and she got voted out. But yes, she's great. And again, I cannot say this enough. She is gorgeous.
Yes.
So
Oh,
so yeah.
stunning.
Okay, so we pick up with Mama Kelsey is gone. And for me, I think it's kind of a good thing because now the game is open. The game
Yeah.
is open in that people are not, oh, the Swifties, oh, maybe she's not, oh, I don't want to be nice. And I think what this season has taught me too is that I think I'm on the gamer side. I consider myself a Bravo girly. I know I don't podcast a lot about Bravo stuff, but I watch everything. I go to BravoCon. I'm there.
Wait,
But
were you
I
there?
not this year, but
Okay,
I
so
was
just
there.
way
Not
we
this
see each
year.
other.
No, no,
Okay.
no, not this year. I've been previous years. I've been there
Okay.
before. But I'm just like when these happens, and I see fellow Bravo people, and they're so sad. Or like when Dorinda left, I'm like, that's the luck of the luck of the draw. Like so, it happened. Like I don't
Right.
feel so sad or feel so. I'm like, oh my god, I have found out that I think I'm on the gamer side of
Wait, can I add some
things.
context there? I think it
Yes.
might also be the fact that Dorinda was put on pause from Roni, Real Housewives of New York, right? And when she was put on pause, that was a big blow to her. The show was really important to her. And a pause means that there's a possibility that you could come back. But Roni didn't come back. Roni came back with a whole new cast. And
Mhm.
so I feel like she lost Roni. And then while she did get to be on the Traders last year only for one episode, I feel like that was two situations where she didn't get to like finish in a sense. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's why the fandom is sort of rooting for her to have been able to come back and to be able to do more because of her pause with New York. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
It does, but maybe I'm just a harsh bitch. I'm just
She
such
is.
is life. Like things happen.
Yeah.
Everybody's not getting because if we do that, then we
I'll
probably have
get
to do
fired.
that for a very like Ian went out. I was so sad for Ian. Like for me, my logic is Ian is not really on reality TV. He doesn't get a chance to do this all the time. He just does
Right.
his job in Houston and it's like, okay, so do we bring him back because of that? Yes, I get it. He doesn't have the TV stuff, but different niches, different fandoms. For me, Ian was like heartbreak.
Really? I
So
was like,
you
who's
know,
that guy?
exactly, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm just, but for Dorinda, she will find something else.
Oh,
Bravo
of
will never
course.
leave her alone. She was already on Ultimate Girls Trip in New
Yes.
York. So for me, it was just like, I don't know, such is life, things happen. But
Yes. Yes.
I think before we going, I do want to add that some of the challenges that they're doing, I'm watching the current season of Traitors UK. As
Mhm.
always, don't ask me how I'm watching. And the challenges are kind of similar. So I had seen the Secret Traitor before. Again, the difference is just that they tell them who the traitors are compared to the US season. So the
Okay.
murder in the trees has been done in the UK. It's not all of them that they're doing. And the thing that you learn from that and also here is exactly what Rob said in the confessional, where is that get your stories right, aka Lisa. Lisa was one of the people up for murder. And I hope that they've learned also from Carolyn from last season that if you're one of the people, you have to make sure like you get your story right and you come in from that. So table that because that's going to be coming. I also want to just say that something being done in the UK version, it cannot be done here because this is reality TV stars. But for when it comes on Peacock, is the fact that there are connections that are not revealed even to us until people get banished, and then we find out like, oh, this person is this person's boyfriend, this person is this person's mom, this
Oh.
person's, and it's so great because they don't tell us at all until maybe the person gets banished, and then they say it in the confessional, and you're like, oh, I had no idea. So I think
Oh,
that's really
cool.
fun because in Canada we have that, but they tell us in the beginning because that just ended too, and they told us that Did you watch that?
I didn't. I
You're in
should have because I
Canada.
live here, but
Yes. Because I was like, but yes, in Traitors Canada, they tell
somebody
us at
sent
the
me
beginning.
the casting. They're like, you should audition. I'm like, I'm not auditioning for this.
You should. I mean, it's an experience. I tell
It is.
everybody that. It's an experience. I would never do it, but it's an experience.
I know myself in terms of physicality, I can't do it. Like I can't even jog for 10 seconds. Like I would be the Donna Kelsey where I am pretending to be part of these challenges and I'm not actually there. To be
Okay.
honest.
So, breakfast, I do say that. I do not say that man's name on here. I call him Voldemort.
Is that who we're
Yes,
talking about?
yes,
Okay.
yes. I like how you whispered it. Yes, I called him Voldemort here.
Okay.
So, he comes in and Ron starts to tell people because they're asking all the people what happened when you were tied to the tree because they're trying to get their stories right. And then Ron is like, he heard tiny feet. And the tiny feet he just assumes is Mora. And I'm like, it could be Candace. It could
That's
be
what I
Tiffany.
said.
It could be
That's what I
anybody else.
threaded. I was just like, Candace is also a tiny little bird, right? And I want to
Yeah.
know the difference that he finds between the footsteps of Mora and
Yeah.
Candace, right?
Yes.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yes, it is. And it's just it brings me these people are loud and wrong. There's so many seasons that you can't come in and say anything with certainty. You would think you would add a caveat. Like, hey, I heard this, could be anyone. I just thought it was. But they say, like, I was so sure that it was
Right.
her. But my question is, like, how do we feel about murders like this, where the traitors have to do it in person? That could give a clue. Because I don't know how I feel about that.
I guess I didn't think about that, but you're totally right because
Yeah.
they were analyzing how Ron and how Lisa described it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not against it. I mean, I guess it's a great idea because it also helps us as the audience sort of hone in and try to pick up like those
Yeah.
little missing pieces and be like, "Ooh, they made a mistake. Ooh, she brought up an axe. Did they bring up an axe?" Right?
Yeah.
And I think it adds to the gameplay. I think it's fun. And it
Yeah.
creates that sort of like that I don't know, that more like
Mystery.
fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
the mystery fear, the like, oh God, am I gonna get it right? If not, am I screwed? Is everyone gonna
Yeah.
figure me out? Like I feel like that's perfect for this game.
Yeah, the paranoia is heightened
Yeah.
on
Yes.
that. So I wasn't sure about it because I'm like, oh well, they get to hear footsteps, some people get to hear laughs, but after the way it played out, I'm like, you know what? It is a good thing. I see where they're going with this. They're just trying to increase the paranoia because more times than none, they're wrong. So
Yeah.
you're just adding on to
I'm
that. But at first,
positive.
yeah, because someone's like, I heard a heavy footstep, and I think we've heard that before when last season when they put them in the coffin, and it was like
Mm.
the knock and the laugh and the this. I'm like, isn't that too close? Isn't that too risky? But like you said, it just adds to the paranoia and solving the mystery, and it helps that they're wrong with that. So they asked Lisa about it, and Lisa is just, again, I don't know if it's the editing, but she ramps it up. Her soap opera career comes in. She's going on. She
Classic
gives way too much detail, and everyone knows. Even in regular life, if you're gonna lie, don't give too much detail. It asks for follow-up questions. Like,
Yes. I always add too much detail when I lie. It's hilarious.
but she gets it together. She answers it. But our good Miss Natalie, you might not be familiar with her because she's a gamer from Survivor, but that woman is, whew, the shit. She's great. She's great. She's
All right.
great. And she asks, like, well, if you're faithful, why would you tell them that you're faithful? Like, they already know. That's why you're in the tree. And I don't know. I think they buy it somehow. That seems to slip over the radar. No one's like, obsessing over that. They're just like, okay, she told us, and she told us the best story. Instead, if anything, they focus on Ron, not mentioning the axe. That's a whole major detail. And I'm like, Ron is just a dead man walking. There's nothing this man can do
But
that I think.
why? What is going on there? Like, I really want to analyze this with you because, listen, as a failed comedian, I think it's really rude when people say that you're not funny. And let's assume he is funny, right? For him to have gotten cast on The Traitors, he must be a pretty big comedian. I hadn't heard of him as a comedian before. But like, people are talking about how he kind of goes back and forth about things, or he's really quiet, or they really are honing in on the fact that he was the reason they sent home Portia. But on the Portia of it all, she fucked
Yeah.
up, right? Like she
Yeah.
was like, there's 4 traitors when I
Mhm.
killed Ian last night, right? Like, I feel like we can't really blame Ron for that. I feel like that was kind of Portia's fault. I don't love the way that he's interacting with some of the people. Like, he's being
Yeah.
a little mean, but they're being mean to him. And it broke my heart when, like, no one gets excited to, like, see him, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of, like, rooting for Ron now. He's, like,
Yeah.
he's my underdog.
I'm not.
No,
Because
okay, sorry.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I just, again, like I said, I could be in the wrong. I could get a whole bunch of
I could be in the
messages
wrong.
telling me that I'm terrible and stuff. But Ron is not giving what I expected Ron to give, and it's
Okay, what
just
did you
in and
expect?
out. I just thought he'll be. I didn't know much about Ron. I'm not gonna lie. I knew he was a comedian, but I just didn't know anything about his personality. And that's what happens when you cast the. I don't want to call them outsiders, but the outsiders are like Eric Nam and Ron, where we don't know your life.
Right.
People know of your work, but they don't know of your life. And that would be the same of like maybe Dylan Efron. Like we know you are Zac Efron's brother, but we don't know you because we haven't watched you. Or Sam, who is Britney Spears' husband.
Right.
Things like that. Those are the outsiders, or what I call them. And I think because of that, I said this last week that I know they like to say gamers versus non-gamers. They're all gamers. To me, they're all gamers. They're all
This is a
playing
game.
a game in
Mhm.
some way. And
Yep.
I think what they're missing for people like Ron is not realizing that social capital goes a long way.
You're right.
Even with Survivor, whereas outwit, outlast, I forget the last one, but you have to have a social game. A social game makes someone confused or hesitate to be like, oh, but I really like this person. A social game, even in life, likability goes a long way. You could be a lazy worker, but you're like, you know what? I really like having them around. You keep them around. And I think Ron is underestimating that. We are going to talk about it later in the roundtable where he's like, I don't give a fuck about, you learning about my family. You don't need to know. Big, huge mistake. You don't do that on any reality TV. So, and also like, because it's unfair how they're treating him, and it just seems like he can't win at this point. You
Yeah.
can almost see the fight coming at, like, leaving him, and it's like there's nothing else to give. That's almost like, for me, I'm even like, isn't it better if you go home and you're just with people who love you and know you versus trying to prove to people who you are when they don't know you and they're not even trying to get to know you. But how they're treating him, unfair. But again, we'll get there to
Okay.
that point. Yeah. But yeah, so they buy hers and they focus on him. And then Eric tells us, he doesn't tell the people, that he's 99% sure. This is what I'm saying. Why are they always so sure that he
He
heard a
knows
laugh?
bitch. He knows bitch.
but but he doesn't tell us who it is. So we get to see who was murdered, and it is Caroline. And once again, I was just like, listen, I think I even put this on threads or somewhere. I was like, I want Stanbury to be out early.
Oh, why?
She brings nothing. Like,
Yes. Okay.
I feel like I'm too object. I need to be a delusional like fan, but it's just like Stanbury has been a letdown even on Dubai, and
No.
she peaked on Ladies of London. Ladies of London was where she was bringing in, and she peaked, and she had the energy. Now she feels like she's phoning things in, and she really
Yeah.
just got by on, you know, her privilege and people just wanting her to be the queen bee. She didn't have to do much. Everyone just wanted to be on her side, so she didn't do a lot. And I'm like, I don't want people on here who are not giving anything. So Portia might not
Absolutely.
have figured out, what's happening, but Portia is going to give me looks. Portia is going to give me confessionals. Portia is going to give me moments. So Caroline is not giving me anything, even though I listened to Rob Serstanino's interviews, and he did say that Stanbury was really smart and she was clocked in on a lot of things. I guess we just didn't get to see it. And I want to point out also that Rob did mention that he was kind of the person who told Portia that there were 4 traitors, given the history of the show. So
Stop.
good on
That's
Portia
tea. Poor
for not
Portia. She should have turned around and been like, Rob told me that.
exactly. I was like, good on her for not selling him out. But he was like, yeah, they were in the car, and he kind of mentioned like usually there are 4 traitors.
Shit.
But like I said, I still kind of feel like Portia wanted to go home. She wanted the comfort of her home, and she didn't want this.
So we all.
I think the physicality maybe throws them off. Like, we have to do all this, but who knows what
Right.
happens. So yeah, so I was happy for her to leave. And also the back and forth that she gave, at least she gave that with Lisa. I mean, more of it on Lisa. It was funny that Candace was like, you talk too much, when I'm like, I didn't see it. They didn't show us Stanbury doing a lot, unless again I missed it. So for her to say she talked too much, what was your take on Stanbury, like on her time on the show?
I mean, same as you're saying. I kind of didn't really notice her. She didn't really have a part. So maybe I mean, maybe she did and they cut it all out. Maybe they
Yeah.
didn't feel it was interesting. But about the you talk too much, I felt that became like a running theme throughout both of these episodes amongst everybody. It sort of became like whoever is talking too much needs to leave because we're tired. I liked I liked how she went out. I liked the exchange with Lisa. It sort of
Yeah.
was reminiscent of Lisa and Eileen Davidson and the whole like "you beast." I don't know if you remember that, but it just sort of felt that
Yeah.
way. And even just for Stanbury to say like, "Well, I guess I'll see you outside of this, maybe at BravoCon," and Lisa's like, "No, you won't." And it's funny because Lisa was invited to BravoCon, but she declined the invite. So it was true. She didn't see Caroline at BravoCon because she didn't attend.
Do we believe Lisa that she declined? Because that's the other thing. Lisa is an exaggerator. Like anything to be on. And I will say, my interpretation was that Dubai is canceled. Why would Stanbury be at BravoCon?
Was she at BravoCon? I was at BravoCon.
No, I mean,
remember.
was this
Oh,
filmed before or after BravoCon?
Before.
Before. Okay,
Yes.
got you. Okay.
I do believe
Okay,
it is
got you.
true only because Bravo would have said, we didn't invite you, Lisa. And I think they would have invited Lisa only because of with the Traitors coming back and all of that. And they did apparently try to film her at Kyle Richards' daughter's wedding, which was
And she
part of
said,
the Real Housewives. And she was like, film around
No.
me. So
Okay.
I do think it's true because I think they would have shut it down otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And yes, I just remember that they filmed before that and she would
Yeah.
come. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, they gave us a soap opera housewives moment over there, and it's like Lisa feels nothing. And that's the thing with Lisa, for those who do not know. Lisa is loyal to no one but herself and Harry Hamlin.
I was gonna say
Anybody
Harry Hamlin.
else, yes. Anybody else, she does not give a fuck about. She does not care. And I think the thing with Lisa is she's always on. Lisa is
Yes.
the person who sold diapers. She's always on. She's always in character. She's never off
Very performative.
camera. I am getting roasted right now on Threads because I said like no one wants Lisa back. It's nonstop. People are just speak for yourself. We want that. I stand by what I said. I do not want her back. She is entertaining. I'm not saying she's not entertaining. I'm just saying like she got to a point because she's always on. She doesn't know when to stop. And she keeps crossing her friends over and over. And it's like it got to a point where it was dark and it wasn't fun, at least for
Yes.
me to watch. That was my issue with Lisa. But other than that, and also she's thriving. She's like living her best life right now. So her as a traitor, it's fun. I'm not saying it's not entertaining. I don't want her back on Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills needs to figure out whatever is going on there because I don't know.
That's
So,
a dumpster fire. And I don't even think that she could fix it at this point, and it would
Yeah.
be weird. But like you said, she's
Yeah.
thriving, surviving, doing all these things, got a podcast with her husband called Let's Not Talk About the Husband. And you know, she's doing like you said, different kinds of ads. She's
she's
on
on
the
every
cover of
fashion show.
Vogue. She's living, right? I don't think that she should be speaking about Bravo the way that she is, right?
Yeah.
Or just kind of like denouncing everything that they've given her because, you know, this is all a conglomerate, right? Like Peacock,
Yes.
NBC Universal, this is all one thing. So, but don't you find it interesting that like most people from the jump weren't thinking she was a traitor? Like to me, that's just so obvious. Like even if she wasn't tapped on the shoulder, Lisa Rinna is a traitor at her core. So I just
Yeah.
assumed everyone would think she was from the jump. But no.
Do they not think she is not a traitor,
few?
or they do and they don't want to rock the boat? Because I think there's a
Maybe.
whole different thing. And the other thing is, we're thinking with our Bravo brains, right? We have to, like what you said, if they don't do their homework and she is being muted over there, maybe they didn't think it. Because for me, in almost every like preview cast or predictions for Traitors, almost everyone had Renna. I had Renna
Yeah,
on my list. So it seems so obvious to us. But
Right.
for people who are not familiar, maybe that's why
Maybe
they
you're
don't
right.
see it that way. I was going to say also in Rob's interview, he did mention that Stanbury was very mad at Lisa for voting Portia. That she was very vocal about that and was like, you don't vote against, the housewives, and why would you do that? And I'm saying that because I do think it was the right move to murder Caroline, because I don't know why Lisa voted Portia out. Listen, the housewives already have a spotlight. You're already going to think that is, a traitor. One of the traitors is going to be from there. Why would you reduce your probability by voting Portia out? Keep her in so that there's more suspicion, more of you. But it's a good thing that they killed
That's a good
Caroline.
point.
So it's not like, housewives are being kept safe. Why are they still, here? But it throws the scent a little bit off. So it was a good choice. And also why I think it was a right move was I wanted Kristen to stay. I love Kristen so much, and she has not shown who she was. I needed her to have more time for people to get to know who she is. So
we need even more time. I still don't really know her. I feel like she came with some lines about like, oh, I know how to work the knives and stuff. I think she kind of scared Alan for a minute when he kind of thought that she was putting knives in food. Like, I feel like she's probably capable of so much more, but she's still kind of gaining her bearings as well, because this isn't her bread and butter type of competition show either, right? This is, I would almost love to see her back for a second season where she can show her true colors, but we'll see what happens.
I don't think she'll be, it's not, like, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not her zone. I'm actually surprised she accepted it, but I
show, how can you not, you know?
Yeah, I know, but it's, some people feel like, that's the thing. She did Top Chef many, many years ago, and after that, she's just been like hosting, and it feels like that's where she enjoys, you know, being in front of the camera. But this is now competitive and being outside your depth, so to speak, because you hear them say it's a lot harder than they thought it was going to be. So we'll see. She seems to be coming out of her shell now, and she seems to be like in a trio with Mark and I forget the third. Was it Eric? Yes, it was Eric. It was her, Eric, and Mark just talking together. So we'll see. But I wanted her to kind of have the opportunity to show her personality, so that if they're casting in prototypes, they don't X the hosts, because she's a host. And they do think, and then it doesn't matter. Ariana doesn't need a prototype. She can come in anytime. But I expect Ariana to be on there, Rachel Lindsay to be on here. So I don't want
Rachel Lindsay needs to be on this show. She would be so good. I'm absolutely sure of it. And I know, because she's talking about it on her podcast, that like she's talking to her agents about it. It's something she really wants to do. So I'm hoping for next year.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then Colton is deciding that he's going to take a big swing on Tiffany. Meanwhile, Tiffany is, you know, guessing. She's so off base on who she thinks the traitors are. She thinks it's Jam Jam, Ron, and Voldemort. And I'm like, oh, you didn't even get one right. Like, none of these people are traitors. But Colton says, like, if he takes a big swing and misses, then he's gone. But I'm like, I don't agree. Like, Colton, you're not going anywhere. Like, you know, when you miss, then the traitors want to keep you longer, because then they suspect you more, and then you get to stay. And things change so quickly that you probably survived the round table, so you know you're not getting murdered. So no, I don't agree that if you swing and you miss, then you're gone. Ron is still here, even though they still think that he sent out Portia. So Candace is not for it, and Candace is not here for them trying to take Tiffany out. And I said this again in the preview, I said this last week, my read on Candace, she's not going to outrightly say it, but Candace is not going to go out of her way to kill a fellow Black woman. That's just, I think, her stance. And she's like, she's going to do everything that she can not to do it. She's not going to be like so obvious about it, but she's also not going to, like, you know, participate. So, she's just like, oh, I don't think Tiffany, because she's in the same car as Colton, as he's telling everybody that. She's like, no, I don't think, you know, Tiffany is that. So they do the challenge. The challenge takes people out from getting a shield, but they earn money for each spare that they throw in there. This is a challenge that we've seen. Well, I've seen on the UK version also. I think it's a fun one. I like the fact that they get to throw it, and then they have to yell out their names, and then you get to find out. And for someone who's not like in the gaming side of things, what do you feel about the challenges? Are you one of the people who think it's a waste of time?
It's so funny that you ask, because I was like, how am I going to recap this show? I find it difficult to recap. So I kind of don't. I kind of only talk about like the main things that have happened because of the challenges, because I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to tell you, I watched episodes 4 and 5 3 or 4 times. That's how many times I've watched it. I can't even tell you what's going on in the challenges. I don't know if my brain tunes it out, or maybe it's just because I'm not a gamer. I don't really know. But to me, it's just like, tell me what happens at the end of it. I think it's important for everybody else and for those watching, because it's what makes it fun, right? But for me, I guess it's just, it goes right over my head.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I always try to, like, again, until a friend told me, I was watching it and thinking everyone watches it the same way I do, because these are the things that I watch. And I'm like, I can see, okay, this would be like too much for some people. Like, okay, can we get to the round table? Why do we even need to do this? And I think it'll be more confusing this season, because they're doing this thing where some people are protected, you get a shield, and it's a lot to keep up with. Okay, who's safe, who's not safe, what can we do, who cannot. So yeah, but for me, it adds to it, because then people have to show their hands, people get upset like we see. So that
I think it
happened.
adds to it, definitely. I just can't. If you were to ask me after
What
watching a challenge what just happened, I wouldn't be able to tell you in as much detail as you would.
I get it, because honestly, like, even just watching the challenge, sometimes when they say it, I'm like, okay, who wins, who lost? It's a lot, and
Right,
I
right.
need
Yeah.
to remember the rules. This is what I mean by Kristen, where I needed her to step it up, because at the last moment where they had to throw it in for one last person, she's like, they'll have one last effigy left that they need to throw it into, and she's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be the one. I'm like, you got to get your hands dirty. Like, you got to get in the mud on here. So, and she's like, because everyone was going to see who she was going to pick, and she's like, I don't want to do it. But I'm like, oh, come on. But they give it to Jam Jam, and Jam Jam begins to cry. And honestly, I'm
Yeah,
confused as to why. Jam Jam won Survivor. Jam Jam has the chops. Like, I think he's realizing that this was harder than living in Survivor for 29 days or 26 days
that's crazy.
with
That can't
no
be.
food, because I think that emotionally this is getting to him with the Voldemort of it all, with people suspecting him and all that, and he's just like maybe not finding his footing, and he's just like, what is happening? This doesn't happen to me. I have a good social game, but I seem to not have a social game. So I think maybe everything hit him at once, and then he
That makes
started to
sense.
cry. But I did think, like, no, don't cry in front of all these people. So I don't know. Did you feel anything when he cried, or
I
it was
thought it was a
just
little odd. I was just like, oh, okay, because we've seen him sort of like be really strong sort of during this game so far, like just really
Mhm,
strong in his convictions against like Voldemort and several
mhm,
others, right? I don't know him from Survivor, but yeah, I was shocked to see that. But it's interesting that you mentioned it all kind of bubbling up at once, because
mhm.
maybe that's what happened with Tiffany, and we'll sort of get to that later,
Yes.
because she mentions like, I didn't I maybe not being my best self, or I maybe not played the game as I had hoped I would. And I
Yeah.
think that's because a lot of them probably did a lot of work to prepare for this, thinking, I'm going to act like this, I'm going to do this. And then they're
Mhm.
just sort of caught off guard with the environment, I guess, right?
Yes.
They're used to either their home environment or their reality show environment. And like, what the fuck is this? And they're just so put off by it. And so maybe, like you said, all of those things just sort of like built up and built up and built up until he sort of just exploded, right? I can't imagine
Yeah.
being in a room of people that are constantly wanting to kill me or think that I want to kill them and just don't like
Yeah.
me. And there's just this aggressiveness that's sort of going around the castle, where it's like, is it you? Is it you? It's the Spider-Man thing, right?
Yes.
Everybody's pointing at each other. And maybe that takes a toll, right? Like, how could it not? Unless you're the
Yeah.
kind of person that's fine with not being liked, but I can imagine that takes a toll.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that. So I don't know. I feel like it's easier said than done. I would think that anyone coming on here should just assume that I'm here for the experience, because only a handful of people can win. What are the odds? What is the probability of that happening? And also, it's a huge game of luck. Like, you can't
Yeah.
control, if you're not a
No.
traitor, you can't control if they're going to murder you or not. And it's like, if you're really good at it, chances are high that you are going to be at the top of the list. Look at Rob C, look at Ian. So, I don't know. Just hey for the experience, and then tell yourself, I'll be here 2 days max. And then if it exceeds that, then you're like, okay, I did double the time with
Exactly.
four
Then you're not
days.
disappointed, right? But I think
Yeah.
like, and I know we'll get to it, but I think Tiffany disappointed herself
Yes.
by getting herself just too amped up and excited and wanting this so bad.
Yes. Plus, she had an enemy, an ops, but we'll talk about that too. Okay, so they do all that, and the people who are up for murder is Ron, Tiffany, Monet, Michael, Tara, Steven, Lisa, Mora, Johnny, and Jam Jam. I'm not mad at this list, because at least it's like a longer list. It's not like four people and then
Right.
that's it. So that's okay. But it's the fact that Candace and Rob's name never came up. I just think that it's always important to note that when you're a good trader, people are not even talking about you, because last season everyone was like, oh, Danielle is a terrible trader, she's a this, but people were not saying her name. If she was so bad, people will be saying her name. And the tell is the exit interviews, when they say guess who the traders are. We saw Portia's this week, where Portia listed all the people, and every time she opened it, she's like, I knew it, but these were not who she mentioned. She did not, in fact, know it, listener. But they never they never know this. But it's the fact that Candace and Rob's name never came up, I think is really great.
That's
Means they're
true.
playing a good game. So everyone's saying like Candace is doing too much. I stand by her. She is not. She's just being Candace, because look at Lisa. She's not being
She hasn't
Lisa.
even brought out a cry angle yet, okay? Like, she is
Yeah.
playing the game well. I'm impressed with her. Like, we see her on Potomac breaking down constantly. I have never
Mhm.
seen her so strong. Maybe it's motherhood, maybe it's the game. I don't know, but I think she's playing this amazingly. Like the
I mean,
conga line, brilliant.
Another thing from
Brilliant.
Rob's interview, because people are like, "Oh, that was so random. That was this," but she had mentioned some days before that she, at some point, she would want to start like a conga line. So it
She did.
wasn't strange that she just came from nowhere. She's been talking about wanting to do a conga line. So when she's the one who started the conga line, it was like, "Oh, she's been wanting to do that. Okay, fine, let's just do it now." And I'm like, fantastic. So, Colton the doofus gets his moment at the round table and does too much.
Yes.
And he's just attacking, like, I'm just going to go with Tiffany. And here's the thing with Colton. So, Colton, I don't know how he does it. It's his superpower. Colton can be the villain and the victim at the same damn time,
He literally was.
And he's able to do that because, let's talk about it. He has the privilege. He's a good looking white man. That is a privilege in itself.
Yes.
The whole thing that happened with Colton's background, everyone's talked about that ad nauseum. You should know what it is. But even with the way he apologized to her publicly, he wrapped it up in a way where it didn't seem like, okay, is that what it is? He also, I think that was the same time that he also came out while apologizing to her. And it was like, okay, then you don't know, okay, where are we going with this? But Colton has done this multiple times. Then he got a TV show. Then he had this. Even currently, right now, Colton has reposted a story from Preston, if you remember, from Summer House, Martha's Vineyard, where he was cracking a joke, yes, in poor taste, which he himself said, like it wasn't the funniest. But Colton only reposted that. Did he repost Demise? This is what I want to know. Because
no,
Demise
because
had
was literally calling him out for like she had an article behind her head on a green screen being like he was sending harassing text messages from anonymous numbers. She had to get a restraining order. So he's not going to repost that shit.
Yeah, so it's like, don't pick and choose what you want to do. You know what happens when you repost. You know that people are going to come out there. But even when he reposted that, he reposted it and said, well, I'm happily married, living my life. What has that got to do with anything? Like, Colton, like, stop being manipulative. Like, even with the way that he talks and the way that he
the way he
expresses
poses.
himself.
It's like, oh, like, look at a sad little teddy bear. This little, like, ugh, I hate the way he, like, look. Like, he'll look at the camera with, like, these puppy dog eyes, right? And it's part of his manipulation as, like, this privileged, like, white man. It's like, look at me, I can do no wrong, bat my eyelashes.
But the thing is, he's coming here for a redemption. It's very obvious. Yes. Colton wants a moment. Colton wants a redemption. Maybe he saw what it did for Sandoval because some people were taken by Sandoval. I don't know, but he's trying to do that. But either way, Colton wants a moment. Whether it's bad, whether it's good, he just wants his moment. And it's obvious when it's not organic. We can see it with the way he's just like, I'm a football player. I'm a this. Sir, you were in the practice squad. You were not like playing like, okay, thank you.
You played college football and then you were on the practice squad for 2 years.
Yeah, and he's athletic. Don't get me wrong. Everybody remembers how he hauled over the wall with one hand, one hop over and stuff. So he got it, but it's like, let it happen. Like, he just wants to have a moment, and he just decided that it was going to be Tiffany. And it's like, okay, based on what? You just decided you're going to bully someone and just go at them. Fine. He wants to get a traitor. That's okay. I can even let him have that. Also, what I did not like, though, was, the way Tiffany said, I know her back was against the wall. Listen, I understand that. High pressure. But the way she was talking to Jam Jam, this is the second time someone's talking crazy to Jam Jam. The first time, it was Voldemort saying, if you're happy, clap it. To me, that was so rude, so condescending. I hated every minute of that. And then now Tiffany's telling him, I'm not talking to you. Although, Jam Jam, don't chime in right now. The woman is, back against the wall, fighting for her life. And you're like, can I write your name down now? And stuff. Like, it's okay. Just let it be. But I didn't like the way, she spoke to him. That's okay. And then Eric Nam decides, I'm going to reveal who the laugh was. And then the laugh was Tiffany. What?
And he's certain.
So wrong, so loud. And it's just like, okay, I don't know why they didn't show us who the laugh was. Like, to know, was it Candace? Was it Lisa? Let's know whose laugh he's confusing it with. And then to make it worse, this man is like, I'm a musician. I have an ear for things. And then Tiffany is like, you might need to change careers because that's not
I
happening.
love that.
One thing about it is Tiffany did leave her mark on her way
Yes.
out. Like when Colton was, again, to me, trying to be like all condescending and like, how do you spell your name? Which is, I mean, good because Portia went through it with the spelling of her name. So I get it, wanting to find out the right spelling. And she's like, Tiffany, like the company, okay? Get it right. So she fought for herself, and Candace tried. She's sticking to Ron. I don't know about her plan to always stick to Ron forever. I don't know. But that's where she is right now. And she tries to, fight for Tiffany. And Tiffany talks about, needing the money, which is true. I will say this. Usually on reality TV shows, a lot of the times, most recently, Squid Game challenge. There was a lady on there, and something happened, and she went to the lady and told her, "Tell that to my son." And that the lady doesn't have a kid, she has a kid, and she feels like, okay, maybe you deserve it more because you have a child. In general, in competitive reality shows, I don't like when people seem to think they deserve the money more because they have a kid. Almost like you don't need anything, you don't have a kid. That I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what Tiffany was doing. I think she was just, remember, I'm a single mom. I'm, sending him to college. I need the money.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the room. Some people don't need the money. That is true. But some people do. You don't know people's finances.
My understanding, and I could be wrong because I chatted about this with Ryan Bailey, I think the prize pot is $100,000. So for one person to send their kid to college, that's a lot of money. But in general, that's not a lot of money. So like I said before, I really don't think the majority of the people on this cast are here for that money. They are here for what it's going to get them long term.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think for Tiffany specifically, that amount of money was really beneficial to her, which is associated with winning, right? So I don't think she deserves to win more over anybody else because she has a kid. But because the money is so small, I almost wish that she just, could have gotten that for herself because that was the thing that she needed. Not necessarily to win, but she needed the money.
Yes, she actually needs money. I was looking. That's what I was looking around the room. I don't know for the outsiders. I know, like for the Candaces, the Dorindas, and they're Lisa Renna. They're fine. Yeah. They got money. They don't. This is again for that. And I think also for Tiffany, for all the games that she's played, she has never won. So even for Big Brother that she came up with the idea, she did not win. She was on the challenge. She got kicked out. She did not win. She has not won anything. And, winning the prize money and, the opportunities, it's going to be nice. And it's just, it has to be a terrible feeling knowing that you're faithful and everyone is just convinced that you're not. And the thing about the Traitors is whose mind has been changed at the round table? Is it even possible?
There's something to be said. There's so many sociological experiments that have been done about like, you might think one thing, but then you see everybody else in a room do something different. And there's something psychological within us that makes us change to what everybody else is doing. Like there's this experiment where they have like 3 donuts at the front of the room and everyone in the room knows that, everyone in the room is like part of the experiment except one person or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so everyone in the room says there's 2 donuts. And this one person is sitting there going, am I losing it? Right. And they end up saying, okay, there's 2 donuts because that's what everyone else in the room has said. That's because everybody else was in on it. Right. So there is something psychological about that where people can change their minds based on what everybody else is doing. So I think that that's actually really possible. Not necessarily that they really mean it. They just want to go with the flow. Right. I think there's a lot of, trying to do what everybody else is doing here, right? Mm-hmm. And Candace mentions earlier on, like, it's so hard to change your mind about a traitor, right? Like you make your decision and then to change your mind about it, it's such a kind of like a mind fuck. But like, I think it's just so easy, right? Somebody just kind of looks at you the wrong way. And it's the way these people play the game too, especially like last year where it's like, you looked at me funny. You didn't look at me funny. You talked about your family. You didn't talk about your family, right? And all of these things that have nothing to do with anything. None of these things have to do with whether Alan tapped you on the shoulder or not is what people are using to decide whether or not someone is a traitor. So yeah, I totally think it's possible to change your mind, but not necessarily, like I said, in a real way, but just in a way because you're just like, oh, I should be doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because I'm trying to remember, like, even Wes, when they decided he was a traitor, I was like, can you actually change people's minds? Maybe, but, who knows? But sadly, Tiffany is banished. Oh, I do want to say, like, Rob was so funny, Rob R, when Eric said, like, I heard the laugh and I know pitch. And he's an asshole because he was in a fun way. He was like the man knows pitch. So,
Do you think he has actually ever listened to Eric's music? I thought that was kind of funny. Like, you knew who this guy was?
it is possible because when he was on Love Island and they asked him his favorite, wasn't it Baba Doobie? And I think no one knew who that was, and I think he's a niche listener to the kind of music. So it is. That's the only reason why I think it's possible, because I'm like, Rob, who is that? What is that? Okay, so sadly, Tiffany is banished. It was very sad because Tiffany was crying. And if you know that if Tiffany is crying, then you know that you push her to the max. I am not pleased with how Colton was talking to her. Like, I don't care if it's just a game or who you're trying to get out. There are ways to do this without being rude. And
But don't you find that that's what's going on a lot this season, right? Like, again, just because Alan tapped you on the shoulder doesn't mean you're a bad person. So why is everyone so, like, why is Colton so angry and aggressive towards Tiffany? If she's a traitor, again, all that means is that Alan tapped her on the shoulder. It doesn't mean she's a bad person. Why are you being so rude and mean? And same with Ron, right? Like, he's not even a traitor. And I feel like that's the part where for us it's kind of difficult because we're on the other end knowing who the traitors are and who they aren't. I'm like, leave him alone. Leave Ron alone.
Yeah.
He's not one.
I mean, a lot could be said about why he is being aggressive, but I know he wants a moment.
Colton.
But
what do you think about him trying to do the Ari thing? Or the pilot Pete? Everybody's saying he's trying to do the pilot Pete.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, yes, it is. It's just because prototypes. That's what's happening. He wants to do the pilot Pete, the Dylan Ephraim, because he's seen what has happened with them. So that's what he's trying to do. So I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just, it comes with the territory of falling in line with that way when you have people inside. Because I think Rob did say like he had not fans, but like people liked him in the house. He was well liked. And again, do your due diligence. Maybe if we looked it up, we're not going to be nice to him. I don't know.
But on the Colton thing, I do just want to make one other point. I know that, like you said, he probably came on this season to redeem himself. I don't think that was a good decision. I don't think, it was a very controversial choice in a different way than Michael Rappaport was. Sorry, Voldemort. Yes. And, I don't think it was appropriate for him to be on this season. I understand the idea of wanting to redeem yourself, but you took a risk, right? You put yourself out there and now you're getting a ton of hate and you're not getting what you thought you were getting. And whoever told you that this was going to, flip your reputation was misleading you. But you did too many bad things.
I got to tell you that what I think of Colton, I don't think that he cares the bad or the hate that he's getting in his mind. As long as like he's getting airtime, people are talking about him. I think he feels like it's cool. And I think that only because the way he acted the next day after being so wrong about Tiffany with no remorse, that really pissed me off. At least Eric felt bad. But I still felt like they brushed past that too quickly because when Ron did it, everyone was up in arms. Everyone's like, this is the man. He's still paying for his sins right now.
We're talking about it. Yeah.
Yes. It's still happening right now. Eric is like, oh, don't feel bad. We all make misses. You were so sure. And then for Colton, it's like, well, I shot, but I'm going to keep shooting. I'm not giving out. You do not even feel bad. Like, even for anything, like, I know she said she needed the money. Like, I feel so bad that I took that away from her and I let the troops fake it if you have to, but not even faking it. That is why I think this man is probably like, at least they're talking about me. So, and he's probably telling his agents, what can we get out of this? Can I be on House of Villains? Because I feel like everyone is now auditioning for, even if it doesn't work out, I'll be on House of Villains because Sandoval is going to be on House of Villains. So, that's what I think. I don't think he feels bad. I think he's just like, he's going to look his kind of person that's going to look for people who are on his side and be like, well, at least I'm being talked about. It's better than nothing. So I saw him in an underwear ad. I don't know why my algo fed me that shit, but I think because I was watching this. And he was with Max, the Dancing with the Stars guy. They were selling in underwear or something. Okay. So he doesn't care, honestly, Dana. That's what I think. Okay. Like, I think he thinks like they're talking about me and it's fine.
Okay.
So the next morning, everyone is just like there. Colton is even smug and even cracking jokes because Dorinda did not know his story on The Bachelor. And he's not even like, it was a dark time in my life. I usually don't like talking about it. He's just like, because she's like, I know you did The Bachelor, but I thought it was a gay season. I didn't know you went in as a hetero. She said, I didn't know you went in as a heterosexual. And he's like, yeah, I did.
I played the role.
And it's just like, then she's like, oh, I would have liked to know you in that day. He was like, oh, you dodged a bullet. I'm like, You should be like humble. You should be slinking away versus making jokes about like this were people's lives because Tia was obsessed with this man. Like she
Right. I remember that.
was my goodness. And not only The Bachelor, he came on Bachelor in Paradise. No, he was on Bachelor in Paradise and then he left
Yeah.
early because he was going to be the Bachelor. And then you did that and led people on like and then you mess with this girl's life because forever and ever you're moving on doing a TV show telling us like you're happily married, you have a kid, great for you. But forever and ever, even if Cassie's moved on, she will forever have that memory of being stalked. That is something you inflicted on someone, and you shouldn't be so smug about it or so happy to joke about. Ugh, that
That's why I
yeah,
expected him to be a lot more humbled. If you were going to come back to TV, you
yeah.
needed to like really humble yourself. And the cocky way that he's acting, like you said, no remorse the next day. If you're going to play the puppy dog, play it, but you're not playing that card. Right now you're playing like I'm the most popular guy here. I'm really important, and you're not there yet, man. Maybe in 10 years people will forget what you've done, but you are not there yet. You can't play that card.
Bruh, I'm never forgetting. I still haven't forgiven.
Never forget.
I haven't forgiven Phaedra, and then people. I'm trying my best, but it's not working. So we'll see. Yeah. So then Rob's overalls make its debut. For those who do not know, Love Islanders, we know the overalls. It's what Rob wore a lot during the show, and it isn't it cold in Scotland, but Rob doesn't care, you know.
No,
So he comes in on there with
because
that.
he's hot.
Apparently there's an obsession with salmon. Everybody wants a piece of the salmon because Stephen Coletti comes in, hugs, yay, you were safe. It's like, great, I'm safe. Is there any more? Is it done? Where is it? So must be really good. Then we find out who got murdered. This was so sad. It was Monet. It was Monet. And I was so sad. Again, you know, we don't see who it is. Then they do the flashback. I blame this murder on Candace. Candace did not have to tell Lisa. Candace should
No?
not have told Lisa. The only
Why?
person Monet told was Candace, right? The
Right.
spotlight is on Housewives. There's only like three. Is it three of them left? Candace,
Yeah.
Lisa, and Dorinda,
Right.
right? So everyone's going to be like, it has to be. If two of them were faithfuls, one of them has to be there. So you want to keep you want to let Lisa take the spotlight, right? Because she's getting all the spotlight, you know, right now. So Monet told you you want Monet to be on your side. So you just keep, she's not going to say anything. She's not going to banish you. So that's someone on your side. So just let it be. But she went ahead, and I like that they're being faithful to each other, the traitors. But at some point, you're going to have to look out for yourself. And this was the best way for her to have someone be on the target, be on Lisa without getting her hands dirty by just not saying anything,
Yeah.
just not saying anything. But by saying that and then by helping her and being like, oh, I have to murder Monet, we don't know if Monet told somebody else. Yes, he told Candace, but if he told somebody else, then we know like, okay, who maybe he told somebody that the only person I've only told is Candace, and you're putting a spotlight on yourself. So I think like she should have just left it that way and see where the cards fall. But she didn't have to tell Lisa, but she did, and they killed Monet.
I guess
So
I didn't think about it that way. I guess I thought like, she has to stay loyal to her traitor sister and she like kind of has to tell her. And I see what you're saying about at some point you have to fend for yourself, but maybe she figured we're not there yet. There's still so many people left in this castle. And obviously at some point when there's only a few people left, you gotta only worry about you. But maybe because I think if the situation was reversed, Lisa wouldn't have protected Candace like this,
yeah,
because Lisa's a actual
yeah,
traitor in real life too.
yeah.
Um, but I totally see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, but I guess my mentality is thinking that she thought, I have to stay loyal to my crew for now.
She can, but just not saying anything. Because yes, there's many people, right? But again, three housewives.
Yeah.
At some point, they have to get one person. And if they get Lisa, they're going to think, well, it can't be two housewives. It
Right.
cannot be two housewives. So when they do that, then you buy yourself more time. You got Lisa,
Right.
and they'll be like, that was the housewife that was a traitor. Then they start looking at other people, but they were like, because even for me, I was like, two housewives as traitors? It's not possible. So the easier, the faster they get Lisa, the safer and more time she gets to buy herself. And also,
Yeah.
she's not really betraying them. She's just not saying
Not
what
saying
Monet
anything.
told her. She didn't have to. So that's my
But what do you
thought on
think would
that.
have happened if Lisa found out that Candace knew? I didn't say anything.
I think just play the same thing. Like, no, I didn't think it was serious to say. What was it last year where Bob the drag queen was like, I didn't mean it that way. I wasn't saying that. Like, I feel like deal with that
Oh,
if it comes up. It's a maybe,
mhm.
but it's not
Fair
fact.
enough.
But if you find out later, what are you gonna do? Kill her? She's a traitor. Like, I mean, do what you got to do. Either way, Lisa will turn on them eventually.
Yes.
But Lisa's also not playing the game. That honestly, I don't know what she would have done, because for Lisa to suddenly, if she decides she wants to switch up on Candace and people are saying she's quiet, that's going to be suspicious too.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah. Okay. The challenge needs teamwork with the faithfuls, because if none of them take a shield, then there'll be no murder. But if just one person takes it, then there's going to be a murder. Mr. Colton, Mr. Shield guy, he wants to get a shield, but everyone's trying to be like, let's not do it so there's no murder. This is why Candace is here, because Candace, they have to get into water, and she's like, if I get into that water, I'm going to get a yeast infection. Who's going to take care of my coochie? Come on.
Love it. Great line. Great line.
I have Candace's sweatshirt that says "Not today, Satan. Not today, neck." I love wearing it out because people look at me like I'm like, yes, not today, Satan. So, yeah. So those are one of her great lines. Do you think Maura has a crush on Rob or vice versa?
No, but I think that they would bang.
I
And
mean, that's what
I
I mean.
bet
Yeah.
it's happened in the castle already or wherever they're staying.
You think it's happened already?
I am convinced because when I was talking with Ryan Bailey about this, like, everybody comes from their own reality environment, right?
Yeah.
His is the banging environment. Right? He comes from that island. How many people did he go for on that show, right? Like there was so many. And so he even said, like, I haven't kissed anyone yet. I haven't made out with anyone yet. I bet he's getting horny up in there. And I bet he snuck into Maura's room, and I bet they did a little nasty. I bet they did. Now,
I don't even know.
interacting aside from that. At the beginning, she was like, oh my God, hi. But I bet the fact that they're not even interacting at all is because at night, I'm telling you.
Well, that's a good question, because I don't know what their interaction is like over in the hotel when they're together. I don't know if they're allowed to be together.
Probably not.
Because they had after the challenge where they had to change, all of a sudden they're all dressed up and glammed up and they're eating lunch, and I'm like, how does this work? Do you drive back to the hotel to dry out? Do you bring them back? How does that work?
So I have an answer on that. Kate Casey posted about this today.
Yeah.
She had who did she have on her podcast? She had
Trishelle. Mhm.
Trishelle, and they do their own hair and makeup, and everything else is rushed. They are rushing back to shower, do all of that, and then do their own hair and makeup. So there's no like glam or anything like that, which would normally take hours.
Mhm.
That's kind of the sense that I got.
Okay, so after the challenge, they go to the hotel, come back, and then they go back again at the end after the round table.
I don't know
It
about the
just seems like
hotel piece of it. I have to listen to like the whole podcast to see
Okay.
if like there's more. But I saw her post something about it on Threads because
Okay.
Abby Bonadies, which is one of my favorite, I love her, one of my favorite accounts. She was asking about it. She's like, someone's going to need to explain this timeline to me here. How are they able to get this dirty from this challenge and then be able to shower, clean up, do glam, come sit down, get all dressed up, right? And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think we need some more information there, but I think we're going to hear that in interviews probably because it's
Okay.
a big question. People are really interested in how that's all happening.
Okay, because that was quick, and I was like, this also seems like a tasking day.
Yeah.
Like to do all that and then to drive, and I don't know how far it is, and it seems like a lot. Ron is back out with like a coat that is so bright and so orange, and I'm like, I think Ron's strategy is just to wear bold, loud colors, or maybe like no one's talking to me, I'm just gonna walk around in my colors, leave me alone.
It's a strategy.
The fight between Colton and Voldemort happens. It was just, this is at the round table. I've skipped over to the round table because it's time to now vote somebody out, and it was just nasty. It was just Voldemort tells us that he knows when he's losing control. He's just out of there, but he can't help himself, and he's just an emotional man. He's just always like yelling and just shouting, and whether it makes sense, whether it doesn't. And Colton is, again, thinking he's the alpha dog and the top guy. And I don't want to agree with Voldemort, but it is true. Like, you were so wrong, and you're still rallying people to vote again, and you're just not having any remorse, anything. Voldemort was really stuck on the alliteration. He wanted to be like, you commiserating, and then Rob couldn't take it, and he's like, commiserating means you're sorry for this person.
And what's funny is Voldemort probably spent so much time preparing that little speech, and to have had it wrong, it's just hilarious.
Yes, he is. Now, what everybody is talking about is the moment where Voldemort just suddenly said, if anyone knows anything about keeping a secret, it would be you. I gasped, Dana. I really did. I just wasn't expecting it. And I was like, no, he did not. No, he did not. And I think that's where everyone was like, all right, we're not doing this anymore. And this is what they should have done from beginning if they had done their homework and gotten on the same page and just gotten Voldemort out. There's no need. He's not helping. I get it. The producers probably put him in there as a not a distraction, but someone who's just rallying like drama and just doing what he does best, which is not helpful. And for me, not fun to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think at the moment he said that, it went beyond game because the thing is there are many queer people in the room. It's not just Colton that's on there. We don't know their story. We don't know what their coming out story was like. I can only speak for, like I said, I've mentioned many times, I read Kristen Kish's memoir recently. It took her a while to come out. You know, she dated a man. She was in a heterosexual relationship. They a live-in boyfriend for 5 years. So I can imagine, like, if he says that and that brings that back again, like, you know, that shame, like, you know, she talked about in the book of like not living her authentic life because they have a thing on Entertainment Weekly where they asked them what is the most traitorous thing that you've done, and for her, she said she mentioned it and said not living my authentic life and being in a relationship that I shouldn't. Like you can imagine, like she's probably still beating herself up for that. Like you know, I maybe I led someone on or I let basically similar to Colton, right? So it's like when Voldemort says that. You're not just saying that to Colton, you're saying that to other queer people who you don't know what their story is. It's not what they wanted. We don't like Colton. Yes, Colton is different. Colton uses things in a different way that is not good at all. But under no circumstance should Voldemort have said that at all. I don't game not whatever. It was just not good at all.
Not only was it not good, it's sort of what you said before about Colton can become like the victim and the villain at the same time. In
Mm-hmm.
this sense, he is the victim of this situation, but he's also been a villain for us, and it puts us as an audience in a weird
Yes.
position because we feel
Yes.
bad for you now because what just happened was not cool, but we also don't like you. So now we have to defend you, but we don't want to. And so it's again, if Voldemort was just gone, but don't you find it so fascinating that I think this is the first time in Traitors history they've wasted getting rid of a traitor on someone who was just annoying? I think for the
Yeah.
most part, people knew that he wasn't, but like,
Yeah.
you are so distracting. You really are. Nobody can get anything else done. And it's funny when people talk about like so and so is quiet or whatever. Maybe they're quiet because he is so loud and he takes up so much space in a room that nobody can really get to know each other otherwise or be able to figure out the rest of the game, right? He's so
Yes.
distracting. So, you know, I know we don't like him. I will say there were some things that I found fun, like maybe it's the after effects, like the memes, right? Like him eating an entire plate, hilarious, right? I saw these two guys make this little song where they're like, Peacock, Peacock, Michael Rappaport, we want you out, we hate you so much. Like hilarious shit, right? And he's reposting it. So the internet of it all was fun, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I guess
Yeah.
I
It
liked him
just
there for the short time so that we could have the memes.
yes. But if I had to pick, I would rather not have him at all. Him and Colton. I mean, now that they voted him out because Johnny Weir was like, I don't even want you here. Natalie again doing the Lord's work, and it was like, yeah, I think we just need to get you out. We just don't want you. But either way, Michael is banished, and we are free. We are free. We are free at last, guys. Like we are free from him. So it took doing that, and you know, Colton is using that, and it's like, you know, how could he say that to me? Like, you know, I barely survived that. No, I think that's what he said to Preston. I
Yeah, I
can't
barely
keep up with
survived being in the
all
closet.
the things he said, you know, and but either way, I think I was just thinking of like all the people that what he said, how it would
That's a good
resonate
point.
for
That's a good point.
other people because you know Colton I feel has had time and I don't know even if it wasn't that secret it's just the other secret that he's coming on here like if he was I think he even addressing it in the confessional might do something for me. Like even saying, I made a lot of mistakes. Like I caused a lot of hurt and harm to people. Something. There is none of that from this man. So I don't.
You know what I wanted to mention because you asked at the beginning, like what they could do differently? Us as podcasters, we spend time in the weeks prior to this airing trying to tell our audiences who all of these people are. I think the show
Mhm.
should do that, either by way of having them each sort of introduce themselves in some way, or in the way that Special Forces does it, where they're having the one-on-one with like the agent, and then they pour their heart out as to why they want to be here, and then you find out more about their story. The audience, unless you're listening to podcasts about the Traitors or you're doing your own research, most people who are watching the Traitors only know a few of these people. So why don't they like help us get to know them a bit better? And I think if we had that, Colton would be like, I'm from The Bachelor. This is what happened. I did this terrible, hopefully, he would hopefully say this. I did this terrible thing. I'm here in hopes to redeem myself. Just so you can get a sense of who this person is, what they did wrong, and what they want from this experience. So then you do sort of give them that opportunity to say like, yeah, I'm sorry. But there is no opportunity for that on this show because they never really introduce themselves to us.
I think they have something that's just online or something where they have this little quips. But I think my only thing about that is it's never going to be honest. It's not going to be what you and I say or say like, oh, they did this, did that. It's going to be like tailored all the way up, and it's not going to be like, how do you explain? Like I was explaining to my guest last week how the beef that Candace and Portia had. You can't explain that. You can't bring up Ultimate Girls Trip and say like, oh, Portia stole. I was like, Portia stole her castmate's husband, and he's like, what? You're not going to say that. You're going to understand that Candace threatened someone with a butter knife. They're going to be like, who, Candace? I'm like, yeah, she did. Candace got a mouth on her. She did all the things. So I know we're looking at it from Colton, but even for other people, I'm going to be like, Renner broke a glass and said, it's going to be washed. It's going to be sanitized.
Curated that. So if the audience ends up believing, they're going to end up believing like a curated version of the truth.
Yeah, they still are not going to get a sense of what these people are. How do we explain Voldemort? Like, what are they going to put on his? They're not going to say all the terrible things he's done. Like, he's been charged with also domestic violence. He said some terrible thing.
Yeah, I did a whole deep dive on that guy.
Just shouldn't cast them. It doesn't sound hard. I think you can get villains that are not like actual, true, terrible villains.
Right.
There's enough in the pool. Like, I don't understand why.
I'm sure we can find people without criminal histories. Like, I'm sure it can't be that hard. That being said, I have an entire mouse pad that is just mugshots of housewives.
I mean, that's the thing. I think the thing with reality TV people is like you just have to accept that they're terrible people. Like I just, they're not. Like I say that. So one of my listeners asked me for a deep dive of the challenge, and I was trying to go through it, and I was just like, oh, and they did this, and I was like, yeah, they're all terrible. I don't know what to tell you. They're all terrible people in some way, just some worse than others. I don't want to put them on the same lane because I'm never going to put Candace or I don't know who else on the same level. Or
Candace
Renner
and Portia wouldn't be, or sorry, Candace and Michael wouldn't be on the same.
Exactly. I wouldn't put them on the same level, or Colton anyway. I don't want to put them on the same level. I'm just saying that they wouldn't get a true sense of years. Well, we put years watching with them.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Michael did apologize. He went in the confessional like, I didn't mean it that way. And I know there are people saying he didn't mean it that way. No one responded, but I would really like to know, for people who believe that Voldemort did not mean it that way, please tell me. I would love to hear your side. Like, I'm not even being like argumentative. I want to understand, what other way did he mean it? I my brain is open to listen to that, but that is how he meant it. Like, he could have made his point or said anything about Colton and said like, oh, you just like to rally people or you're manipulative, something, without saying that. So, but that's the only way you can take it, but I'm willing to listen. Let me know what you think. But I do think that apology was brought upon him by the producers. They were like, this is not going to play well, so just say something here and that might help. So I don't know. It's too late. It's done. It's done. Next thing we know, Kristen is all up on Colton's ass. She's so loud and so wrong as usual, but that's fine. If it's Colton, let's just stick on him. Colton clocks Lisa and is like, I think Lisa, like, this is not the Lisa that I know, that her voting for Portia was his red flag. Like, why would she vote for Portia? Which again, yes, Lisa, why did you vote for Portia? Like, why would you try to reduce the number of housewives?
Even if she wasn't a traitor, she is just a traitorous person. You can't just think that because she's a housewife, she would stick with the other housewives, because she's just, she doesn't have loyalty to anyone.
Yep. So yeah, Rob tells Lisa that they talk about it in the turret, and they're thinking about they have to murder Colton. And my last question to you is it smart to murder Colton, and do we care?
I think it's smart, and I think we care because we care about the show. So we care about the gameplay. Do I care about him leaving and never seeing him again? No, of
Yeah.
course not. But I think it's a good idea because he's trying to be a ringleader. He is,
Hmm.
unfortunately, as Voldemort said, a failed ringleader. I don't like that
Hmm.
he's trying to rally the troops. You're not smarter than anybody else, right? Tiffany pointed that out. You're not a very smart guy. And
Hmm.
I think it's time for you to go. One, because this was a contentious choice to begin with. Two, you were dead ass wrong about so many people so far. Three, you're playing this kind of aggressively and meanly. And four, yeah, we're good off you.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I'm okay with them murdering Colton, only because I also wanted to get this to be fun. And I want to say this because reality shows are kind of like the microcosm of society. You get to see the different parts of society, you get to see things. And I've said this on the show before. I know people get mad, like, oh, why would you bring misogyny into it? I'd bring racism into it. But this is real life. Sometimes
Exactly,
these things
because that's
play
life.
out on here. If you are able to watch it without thinking about that, you know what? Good for you. I am happy for you that you're free of those. But for some of us, it's not that way. Sometimes you watch these things and they're in there, and people don't even realize that when we watch it, we also still stop and say, okay, let's take a step back because let's not make it a thing. But it's right there staring you in the face. So some of these things, it's not fun to watch. So if Colton leaves, I'm fine with that because again, it was just everything is just uncomfortable. I have to watch this guy also still just thinking that you did this to somebody and you're walking around like it's nothing. And just the way they did. And again, I don't know why Colton gets to make a mistake and everyone's like, "Well, you made a mistake." But Ron has to pay for it forever. Like, listen, Ron is not helping himself. Ron telling Dorinda, "My family's none of your fucking business," and all that. You don't do
That was
that.
weird.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't
Like,
have
like
to.
relax about it.
You can be like respectfully, I'm a private person. I don't want to share. Like, there are other
No,
ways
you're
that you
not.
can
You're a
say that.
comedian. Just talk
Right?
about your family
Well,
first.
they do say that comedians are introverts, so they don't like to go. But again, this is the show that you're
But
coming
they like
on.
the
You have to.
tension.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of factors, but either way, that could have been handled better. But you need the social strategy. You
Yeah.
need to hang out with people. So this whole ostracizing Ron and not talking to him, but Eric makes a mistake, Colton makes a mistake, and all of a sudden it's like, well, you did, and Colton's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it again too, and everyone's just like, yeah, we're gonna follow you. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't
So
like that.
let's be consistent. Let's know what we're doing, unless there's things happening that we don't know. Maybe Ron is being more whiny, and they're just like, we don't want to do that anymore. I don't know, but these are the things that we see, and that's what we're commenting on. But
Right.
either way, I'm still loving the show. The show is great. I'm glad that some of the people are leaving. And I think once Colton leaves, I will lean in and feel so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
I don't like his outfits as well. I don't know what he's trying to do fashion wise, but again, hopefully he'll be gone soon, so I don't need to worry too much about it. And one other thing I was sort of just wondering, and like I don't want to like go too much down a rabbit hole, but I had threaded about this. Do you think he hates women? Like, do you think?
Colton?
Yeah, I think he hates women because it seems like, you know, which is fine for his dating life, right? But like the way he's treated women, like if you could really look at this as like a whole, the way he's treated women in his dating life and now crossing over to this with the aggression that is seemingly coming with it, that doesn't seem warranted. I don't know if he has like this hatred towards women that could be like this weird intrinsic thing where it's almost like because I was never really accepted by them, but at the same time I didn't want to be with them. I don't know. Like I'm no
Yeah.
psychologist, but I'm just it the aggression that he had towards Tiffany, I don't understand it. And I'm wondering if there's a correlation to just the way he feels about women in general when you look at the way he's treated. Like, like you always have like your gay bestie. You don't see that with Colton. Colton's not hanging out with the women. You don't see him like
Yeah.
becoming besties with the women, right? And like I find that odd. I don't know.
Colton is interesting because he's caught between he was an athlete most of his life. So I think just
Right.
being the jock and then because of the way he looks, listen, Colton is an attractive man. It's just what it is. And when you're that attractive, there's some kind of way that your looks play into how you live life. And I think like
Very
he's
true.
lived life that way, thinking that he can get what he wants. So the combination of how he looks and being an athlete, I think plays a part in that. I don't know in terms of the women part. I know the way like he just kicked them off to get the shield and to get on that. Some could say it could be his competitive nature. I don't know. Or it could be that. I don't know him. And like, I feel like after he got out the Bachelor Zeitgeist and all that, I just kind of completely let him out, forgot about him in that regard. But on the flip side, like we said last episode, he makes all these jokes about being gay or like making it a personality. It's like, where are you, Colton? Like, are you still trying to find yourself? Are you still trying to sort things out? But I will say personally, I didn't think about the hating women. I was just thinking like he's just a terrible person. So he
That could
just
very well be true, right? That's sort of like the overall encompassing. No, he doesn't hate women. He hates everyone. He's just a dick.
He just talks down to people that he thinks that he's better than. I think that's my thing for Colton, which is not a good way to live life. Like, don't think you're better than people. We're all here. So I don't know. I haven't seen him do a lot of interviews. I don't think they're letting him do interviews. I don't know. Have you seen one?
I haven't seen one. Again, I just feel like this was a bad casting call. I just do, because I can't picture him going into an interview, right? Like, are we going to be talking about the past? Like, I guess someone really told him all of that is going to be wiped clean if you just play this right and come off as like a lovable teddy bear. And it's just, I don't think he should have come back to the media spotlight at all. I feel like he did his coming out Colton documentary. He explained his story, and then he should have just gone away. Like, even coming back for that show he did, which was called like, Are You My First? Which was like a dating show about virgins, which nobody watched. It's just, you said you're happy now, you're married, you're happily, living your best life. I just don't think this space is for you, which is fine, right? Like, it's not for everybody. I just think you need to slink away quietly and not come back to this space.
But he is getting the opportunities. I mean, and then even I think him having a group in the castle is like fascinating to me, that he has people who are following him. But I mean, I think that's the same as last season, where was it Gabby, Chriselle, and Nikki? They were all in their group together. So I don't know. Again,
none of them were bad people or had done anything wrong, and that's why I think people aren't doing their research. They may have been like, "Oh, that guy, he was on The Bachelor." Do you know the rest of it?
Yeah,
like, the rest of the cast members should do their research so they know who to like. And maybe Dylan Efron did last year, but I just don't feel like these people really did. I feel like they should have, so that they could know who to trust coming into the castle. Like, if I knew that extra factor about him, I would not be teaming up with him.
But it goes back to the question of, do they know who's coming? I asked that question. Do they know who's coming to the castle? Because they all seem surprised. And I think Tamara said on her podcast that they don't know. But I don't know. I don't know if we believe that. If we know, why wouldn't they know? And they have access to their phones, I heard. So
but
you can
hear about casting before they started filming it?
I don't know. I can't remember. Everything's a blur, honestly, timeline. But I think they have access to their phones while they're there. So even after you meet them, can't you Google that? I don't know. I don't know. So
it's just smart gameplay, in my opinion. What do I know? Nobody's casting me. Traitors Canada, hi.
You got to apply. You got to watch it and apply. So you see. Well, thank you for joining me for this recap. Can you share with people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at The Bravo Investigator, also Threads, loving Threads. And I have my podcast, The Bravo Investigator Podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay. And guys, you know where to find me. Also call MAFS on all of the socials. You can find me talking about my life thoughts when I watch TV shows on Threads and sometimes on Blue Sky. And please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay subscribed so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Until next time, guys. Bye.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.